Bad start to the year. Can't see.
Last month's air pollution alerts in London brought a stark reminder of the smog of the 50s. Today's air quality in the capital is one of the most significant environmental and public health issues. According to a study carried out by researchers at King's College London, close to 9,500 people die each year due to long-term exposure to air pollution. 6-year-old Graffid was diagnosed with asthma 2 years ago. His father explained that the recent high levels of pollution stopped his son from going to school.
When the pollution levels were high last week, he really struggled, and he was playing outside at school and had an asthma attack, which continued for over 24 hours.
Deputy Head Fazana Hussain of Vicarage Primary School in East London says she's concerned in the rise of childhood asthma seen in her school of 900 pupils.
We have trends of children who are off for up to a week due to asthma attacks, due to asthma, but no one's made the link with pollution, air pollution. There's no awareness. Well, there is an awareness about the traffic, about the pollution, but there's nothing, day to day that we do differently. I think at the moment, because of budget cuts, funding cuts, schools are limited, but ideally this is something we should be educating our parents as well and educating the children.
Outside in the playground, parents and staff agree that greater awareness is needed.
Londoners in general, I think, not really aware of it. Especially where we live, we don't think we've got a high pollution area. We are quite near the A13 and we are quite near the city airport as well, so there is a lot of pollution that side, but because you can't smell it, you can't see it.
But Dr. Paul Cullinan from the National Heart and Lung Institute says there isn't strong evidence pointing towards air pollution as a direct cause in the rise of asthma cases.
There are two sorts of questions there. One is, does air pollution give people disease that they didn't already have? And the answer to that is quite a difficult one, actually. It may play a role in things like lung cancer and other things, but it may play a role in asthma in children, giving them asthma that otherwise they wouldn't have. But the evidence is a bit shaky. What's much clearer is that it can make pre-existing conditions worse.
Susanna Segal often cycles to London from Kingston. She's concerned about the UK government not meeting the requirements set out by EU regulations.
The first step would be for the government to actually adhere to the regulations that have been set out. There are regulations for a reason.
Dr. Cullinan also explains what caused the recent high pollution levels.
The sort of best cocktail to get a really good pollution day is cold weather, very still air, and of course you need a source of pollution. And certainly in London at the moment there's great concern over diesel. And so what happened recently is that those three things came together.
However, he adds, for most healthy people, the long-term effects of air pollution go unnoticed.
I think that the important point about air pollution is its effects are silent. So, it can have quite nasty effects really without most people being aware of them.
Although pollution might be invisible, there are few things cyclists and pedestrians do notice after their daily commute. Cara Fox cycles to work in dense traffic each day.
When I'm directly behind like a big bus or a car that's got fumes coming out of it, that I feel kind of sick behind them, so I try not to get really close to the exhaust of cars, but I don't feel it physically on me. But that said, and this is kind of gross, but when you blow your nose at night, when I've been riding, especially for a long time, it'll be black. And you think that is definitely due to what I'm breathing in on my daily commute. So that's kind of terrifying.
It's a menace, this choking, eye-watering smog.
Traffic in London was completely at a standstill on many occasions. In fact,
you could only see a few yards in front of you, and the roads were absolutely full of cars, either abandoned or trying to get out. The worst thing about it was that we all got face masks, to put over nose and mouth because the air was so foul. It was just very, very dangerous and very unpleasant to go out.
80-year-old Stanley Kerr remembers what the smog was like half a century ago. And another old-timer Londoner, Lloyd Mullen, says in his walkabout there's a strange smell in the air.
Walk about London now, I can actually smell the pollution, which you never did in those days. You didn't smell it at all.
With levels of air pollution at its worst for over 50 years, what can be done? Dr. Onkar Sahota, Chair of Health Committee at City Hall, says the key is to encourage Londoners to invest in vehicles that do not contribute to air pollution.
Give up the diesels and go over to petrol, or even better, to go up to electric cars, right, which have low pollution levels. So we need to make this easy for them, or help them do this change. We need to make sure that people are encouraged through financial means to help them to change their behaviours.
Transport for London board member Mei Ling Ng agrees and comments on the scrappage scheme for diesel cars as a switch to more environmentally friendly roads.
We should just give money to people who own diesel cars and say, look, here's some money towards a new, greener car.
But veteran Lloyd Mullen has a rather more drastic suggestion as a solution.
Unless something drastic is done to prevent motor cars, indeed, I personally, if I were a dictator, I wouldn't allow any motor cars into the congested area of London at all.
Hadn't passed, and through foggy London town the sun was shining.